When God speaks, the universe listens. When God declares something over your life, not even 1,000 storms can erase it. And God said, you will be a billionaire. Not because you chased the world, not because you schemed or begged or compromised, but because his divine hand has marked you for greatness. The world may laugh, they may doubt, they may whisper, how could someone like you ever rise? But God does not choose the qualified. He qualifies the chosen. You are not where you are by accident. Every struggle, every delay, every rejection was preparation for what is about to be released. God has already written your wealth into your destiny. You may not see it yet, but heaven has already approved it. There are moments in life when you must stop explaining yourself to people and start listening to what God has said about you. Because when God calls you blessed, no opinion can unbless you. When God says you will rise, no force can keep you down. God said you will be a billionaire not to flaunt riches, but to fund righteousness, to feed the hungry, to rebuild what is broken, to prove that obedience still leads to overflow. You are not called to chase money. You are called to command it through divine wisdom and purpose. Money will come looking for you because you will carry the fragrance of divine favor. There is a sound in the heavens, a decree already spoken. While others see only limitation, God is whispering increase. You may look at your life today and see emptiness, bills, debts, and unanswered prayers. But God sees an empire waiting to be born. God never starts with the finished product. He starts with a seed. And that seed might be an idea, a gift, a vision, or a dream you've been ignoring because fear told you it's impossible. But let me tell you, when God breathes on your vision, what looks like a small idea can become a kingdom that changes nations. Many people pray for blessings, but forget that blessings are responsibilities. God does not bless you for yourself. He blesses you so you can be a vessel of his goodness. When God said you will be a billionaire, he was not just speaking about luxury. He was speaking about legacy. He was speaking about influence. He was saying, I will trust you with much because you remain faithful with little. God saw the nights you cried. He saw the days you gave when you had almost nothing. He saw the moments you refused to give up. That faithfulness has built a foundation that heaven can now build upon. You must understand wealth is not about money. It's about power, and in the hands of the righteous, power becomes purpose. The enemy has long desired to keep the people of God poor, limited, and silenced. But this generation will not bow to scarcity. This generation will rise with divine wisdom, with strategy, with discipline, with the anointing to produce, to create, to multiply. God is raising billionaires not to worship wealth, but to redeem it, to show the world what happens when money meets righteousness. The first thing God will do before he gives you billions is change your mind, because a poor mind cannot hold a rich destiny. You cannot receive abundance if your thoughts are rooted in lack. Stop saying I can't afford it. Stop saying I'll always struggle. Every word you speak is a seed, and your future is the harvest. God spoke the world into existence with words, and he gave you the same power. Begin to declare, God has made me the head, not the tail. God has placed me above and not beneath. God is opening rivers in my desert and treasures in hidden places. Speak it until the atmosphere around you shifts. You might say, but I don't have the resources. You don't need them yet. You need revelation before resources. You need divine alignment before divine assignment. When God decides to bless you, he doesn't look for your bank account. He looks for your heart. Because if your heart is right, wealth will chase you. If your motives are pure, opportunities will find you. The blessing of God makes rich and adds no sorrow to it. That means when God blesses you, he gives you peace along with prosperity. No sleepless nights, no fear of losing it. No shame in how it came. True wealth is clean, clear, and consecrated. Sometimes you will feel like nothing is working, but that's when God is working the most. He hides progress inside pressure. He disguises miracles inside moments of pain. But those who remain faithful in obscurity are the ones who shine in abundance. Don't give up when it's hard. That's when your seed is about to break the soil, you may say. But I've made mistakes, I've failed. God can still bless you. Your past does not disqualify you from your promise. If anything, it positions you for it because you've learned what doesn't work. God specializes in rewriting stories. He turns broken people into billionaires, not to glorify their past, but to show the world his mercy and power. Every day declare that your steps are ordered by God. Every decision, every relationship, every investment, let it be guided by his wisdom. Don't chase quick money. Chase divine timing. There is a difference between being rich and being blessed. Riches can fade, but blessings multiply. God's wealth is generational. It flows from you to your children's 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 children. That's why he's taken his time. He's not just blessing you, he's building a legacy through you. There will come a day when you look back and realize every delay was divine. Every closed door was protection. Every disappointment was redirection. Because had things worked your way, you would have settled for less. But God was preparing you for more. The billions are not the miracle. You are the miracle God is using to display his glory in the marketplace, in business and leadership and influence. You must begin to train your discipline. God will not pour abundance into laziness. Faith without action is empty. Wake up early, plan your day, read, learn, build, network, move with purpose. Pray over every step, but don't wait for perfect conditions. Start where you are. God blesses movement. When you move, he multiplies. And when the wealth comes, and it will, don't forget who gave it. Never let the blessing replace the blesser. Use your resources to uplift others. Build homes for the homeless. Create opportunities for the jobless. Feed those who hunger, not just for food, but for hope. Let your wealth speak louder than your words. That's how you honor God with what he gives you. The day will come when your name will carry influence. When people will listen because of what you've built. Use that platform wisely. Speak with humility. Walk with integrity. Love with generosity. The higher God takes you, the deeper your humility must be. Because humility is the shield that protects divine favor. Every challenge you face now is part of your billionaire training. God is sharpening your focus. He is teaching you to hear his voice clearly in the noise. He is training you to make decisions, not from emotion, but from revelation. Because when the stakes are high, you cannot afford to move without divine instruction. Learn to pause and listen before you act. The greatest biz partner you can ever have is God himself. Remember, wealth is not a sin. Poverty is not holiness. Righteous wealth is a reflection of God's order. God delights in your prosperity when it aligns with his will. The same God who created gold, silver, and diamonds did not create them to sit in the hands of those who misuse them. He created them for those who honor him. And that is why he is transferring wealth in this season to his chosen ones, to those whose hearts are pure, whose motives are aligned, whose faith is unshakable. You are about to witness divine acceleration. The things that took others decades will take you years. The doors that were locked for generations will open at your command. Not because of who you are, but because of who sent you. God has placed a mark of abundance on your life. Your ideas will prosper. Your words will carry power. Your presence will attract opportunities. Because when God favors someone, the world cannot ignore them. But remember, this wealth is a tool, not an identity. Don't measure yourself by your bank account. Measure yourself by your obedience, because obedience is the currency of heaven. The more you obey, the more heaven invests in you. Some of you are one act of obedience away from a financial break. God may ask you to give when it feels impossible to forgive someone who hurt you, to step into something that scares you. Do it. Every act of obedience opens a door. In the coming years, you will see sudden shifts, unexpected calls, divine alignments. Resources will appear from places you never imagined. People will seek you out because of the wisdom and peace that surrounds you. That's what happens when God promotes you. Your name enters rooms your feet haven't walked into yet. So rise in faith, speak like a billionaire. Think like a steward of heaven. Plan like a visionary. Move like one sent by divine authority. Refuse to entertain doubt, fear, or scarcity. The same God who said, "Let there be light," has said you will be a billionaire. That means the same creative power that shaped galaxies is now shaping your destiny. God is preparing a table for you in the presence of your skeptics. They will watch as he elevates you. And when they ask how it happened, you will simply say, "God said it, and that was enough." So hold on. Don't quit. Keep believing, keep building, keep declaring. The vision may take time, but it will speak. And when it does, the world will know that when God says something, it cannot fail. You were not born to live small. You were born to build big. You were not born to survive. You were born to overflow. God said you will be a billionaire, and heaven never speaks in vain. There comes a moment in every destiny when God whispers. Now, for years you have prepared, prayed, and waited. You faced resistance that made no sense, doors that closed without explanation, people who left when you needed them most. But what you didn't see was that God was arranging every piece behind the scenes. You thought you were losing. In truth, God was positioning you. The pain was not punishment, it was preparation. The silence was not absence, it was strategy. When God said you will be a billionaire, he wasn't describing where you are. He was revealing where you're going. And when God reveals a destination, every delay becomes divine transportation. There are seasons when God hides you not because you are unworthy, but because you are too valuable to be exposed prematurely. Diamonds are formed in darkness. Gold is refined in fire, and wealth true, righteous, enduring wealth is born in the secret places where faith is tested and character is forged. God cannot give abundance to a heart that breaks under pressure. So he strengthens you through adversity, teaches you to trust him in scarcity, and prepares you to stand firm when abundance arrives. For if you can praise him when you have nothing, you will honor him when you have everything. You must understand something sacred about wealth. It is a covenant, not a coincidence. When God blesses you, it is not luck, it is lineage. You are stepping into promises that were spoken long before you were born. Every prayer from your ancestors, every act of righteousness that went unseen, every tear shed in hope has built a spiritual foundation under your feet. God is not only rewarding your faith, he is completing the faith of those who came before you. You are the fulfillment of a divine continuation, the manifestation of a legacy God refused to let die. So stop seeing wealth as something you chase. It is something you attract when your life aligns with divine principles. God blesses order. He blesses diligence. He blesses faith that takes action. You cannot expect a billion-dollar destiny with a careless attitude. God will not release wealth into chaos. The same God who multiplies also measures. The same God who blesses also watches. He observes how you treat the small before he entrusts you with the great. If you are faithful with a seed, he will trust you with the forest. And when the wealth begins to flow, remember it is not yours, it is his through you. You are a manager of divine resources, a custodian of heavenly assignments. God is looking for people he can trust to build with integrity. Money does not corrupt, it reveals. It exposes what was already inside you. If greed lives in your heart, wealth will amplify it. If generosity rules your heart, wealth will multiply your impact. This is why God works on your heart before he works on your bank account. He is not just preparing to give you something. He is preparing you to carry something. The world system teaches that success is self-made, but divine success is God-made. You cannot hustle your way into what heaven has reserved. The world chases money, but those who walk with God are attracted by purpose. When you move according to his timing, opportunities begin to find you. People are drawn to the peace that surrounds you, the clarity in your speech, the wisdom in your decisions. That's what divine favor looks like. Doors opening without force, connections forming without manipulation, progress happening without exhaustion. God moves silently, yet when he moves, everything changes. You see, true wealth is peace in your spirit, clarity in your vision, and the ability to bless others without fear of loss. God gives you abundance not so you can escape responsibility, but so you can expand influence. He wants you to be the answer to someone else's prayer. The very thing you are praying for, resources, opportunities, connections, God will use to lift others when your time comes. That is why your wealth must have purpose. It must have compassion. It must have eternity written in it. Some of you are about to step into divine acceleration. You will move from waiting to walking, from walking to running, from running to soaring. The people who once pied you will come to you for advice. The same places where you were rejected will soon request your presence. God is turning the table in your favor, not for revenge, but for revelation that everyone may know that what God promises he performs. He never makes declarations he cannot defend. But hear this, with elevation comes examination. God will test your loyalty when influence arrives. He will ask, will you still seek me when everything you wanted finds you? Because wealth without worship becomes idolatry, and blessings without boundaries become burdens. Never allow what God gave you to replace the God who gave it. The secret to sustaining abundance is humility. The more God gives, the smaller you must become before him. The moment pride enters, favor exits. Stay grounded and your wealth will keep growing because humility keeps heaven open. You must also protect your vision from small thinkers. There will be people who cannot understand what God is doing in your life. They will say you've changed, that you're dreaming too big, that you're chasing illusions. Ignore them. Their limitations are not your destiny. When God said you will be a billionaire, he wasn't speaking to a committee. He was speaking to you. Protect that word like a seed. Do not explain divine revelation to minds bound by fear. Let your results become your response. Be careful, too, with who surrounds you in your season of increase. Not everyone who claps for you is happy for you. Some celebrate your potential but resent your progress. God will begin to remove certain people quietly, not because they're evil, but because their energy cannot sustain your next level. Don't fight the separation at sanctification. God is creating space for the right alliances, the right partnerships, the right helpers who carry the same spiritual frequency of purpose. You will also notice that the closer you get to fulfillment, the more intense the warfare becomes. That's because the enemy fears your manifestation. He knows that if you ever become what God said, your life will destroy systems of limitation and inspire generations to believe again. But remember, God's promise is not fragile. It does not break under pressure. It thrives under faith. When challenges rise, don't question the vision. Strengthen your stance. Every attack is proof of your assignment. The greater the opposition, the greater the outcome. Let your faith become a daily practice. Speak abundance. Think excellence. Walk in gratitude. Every morning, declare, I am walking into divine increase. God's hand is upon my work. My ideas are multiplying. My efforts are favored. My results are blessed. These are not empty words. They are spiritual decrees. You are not just talking about success. You are shaping it. Your voice carries authority because it is backed by divine will. And remember this, wealth begins with wisdom. Pray for wisdom more than for money, because wisdom sustains what wealth produces. Money can be lost, but wisdom rebuilds it. Many have gained riches only to lose them because they lack guidance. But when God gives you wisdom, he gives you the key to perpetual increase. Wisdom will show you when to invest, when to wait, when to build, and when to rest. It will protect you from unnecessary losses and connect you to divine timing. There will be days when progress feels invisible. Keep going. Faith is not built on evidence, it is built on conviction. You may not see the harvest yet, but your obedience is watering the soil. God never forgets a seed sound in faith. Every act of discipline, every hour of study, every prayer uttered in secret, it's all accumulating. Suddenly, the ship will come and people will call it luck. But you will know it was God's perfect timing. Let me tell you something powerful. God blesses movement. You cannot sit still and expect divine multiplication. Every person God elevated in history was in motion when the blessing came. They were doing something, creating something. Oh, even if it was small, move toward your vision. Take one step of faith each day. God will meet you in motion. He blesses the hands that work, the minds that create, and the hearts that trust. And when the moment arrives, when your ideas begin to flourish, when your name carries weight, when resources overflow, remember that you were chosen not because you were perfect, but because you were willing. God saw in you what others overlooked: endurance, purity, faith, compassion. You are his evidence that obedience produces abundance. The time will come when you will look around and realize that everything you once dreamed of has become your reality. You will see buildings, foundations, organizations, and lives transformed through what God entrusted to you. And in that moment, you will understand why you had to wait, why you had to fight, why you had to endure. Because nothing that grows too fast lasts too long. But what God builds through process becomes permanent. So stand tall. The promise still stands. God said you will be a billionaire, and he does not lie. His word does not return void. It fulfills every syllable. Walk like it's already done. Think like it's already released. Speak like it's already happening. Let your confidence rest not in what you have, but in who spoke over you. The world will soon see what God saw long ago. A vessel of divine wealth, a distributor of blessings, a living testimony of what happens when faith refuses to quit. You were not created to live in limitation. You were created to reveal the limitless power of God. And the moment you accept that truth, the gates of abundance open wide. Keep believing, keep building, keep walking in divine purpose. Because when God declares wealth over your life, nothing, no failure, no critic, no delay can overturn his word. The promise is sealed. The blessing is in motion, and your destiny is already written in the ink of divine authority. God said you will be a billionaire, and what God says stands forever. There will come a day when the noise around you will fade, when the opinions of others will no longer matter, and when the only voice that echoes within you will be the voice of God. That is the moment when you will understand that everything you've gone through was leading you to something far greater than you imagined. The waiting was not wasted. The pain was not pointless. Every closed door, every sleepless night, every tear, every prayer, all of it was shaping you into someone who could carry what God promised. You will realize that it was never just about becoming a billionaire in wealth. It was about becoming a billionaire in faith, in discipline, in purpose, and in gratitude. God was building something eternal within you. So I ask you now, how deeply do you trust God's word over your life? Do you still measure his promises by your circumstances? Or have you learned to rest in his plan? God does not call you by your condition. He calls you by your destiny. When he said you will rise, he already factored in your failures. When he said you will prosper, he already accounted for your losses. When he said you will be a billionaire, he already saw every obstacle and still declared it possible. That means your outcome is already secured if only you will believe. Look at your life. Look at where you are and where you've come from. Think of every battle that should have broken you but didn't. Every situation that should have ended you, but somehow you survived. That survival was not luck. It was evidence. Evidence that God's hand is still upon you. Evidence that your story is not finished. Evidence that your purpose is larger than your pain. And if God has carried you this far, he will not abandon you now. This is your moment to rise, to stop doubting, to stop comparing, to stop playing small. You were not created to live halfway between potential and purpose. You were created to manifest the greatness God placed within you. Do not hide your light because others are uncomfortable with its brightness. Do not bury your gifts because fear tells you it's too late. When God gives a command, age cannot stop it. Status cannot stop it. Background cannot stop it. Nothing can cancel what God has declared permanent. If you want to see the fullness of what God has for you, then walk in alignment with his principles. Honor him with your thoughts, your work, your words, and your integrity. Let your ambition be rooted in righteousness, not greed. Let your wealth become a weapon of compassion. Be the kind of person who gives even when no one is watching. Build even when others have stopped believing. Pray even when answers seem delayed. That's how the faithful rise. That's how destinies are unlocked. Let your relationship with God be the foundation of every decision. Before you chase success, seek wisdom. Before you build your empire, build your character. Before you expand outward, grow inward. The strength of your connection with God will determine the height of your success. If your heart remains anchored in gratitude and humility, then no amount of wealth can corrupt your spirit. You will rise without losing your soul. You will prosper without pride. You will give without expecting return. And that more than anything else will make you unstoppable. So I challenge you now. Go before God tonight. Look at your life honestly. Ask yourself, am I living in alignment with what God said? Am I trusting his timing? Am I using my gifts to serve or just to shine? Because the truth is the promise is waiting, but it cannot be received by a divided heart. God will only pour abundance into a vessel that is ready to overflow for others. Surrender your fear. Release your doubt. Let your heart become the ground where God plants the seeds of his greatness. You are standing at the edge of something extraordinary. The same God who spoke light into existence has spoken wealth, purpose, and victory over you. Stand tall in that truth. Let every breath you take declare your faith. Let every step you take reflect your confidence in his plan. Life boldly. Give generously, believe fiercely, and above all, stay close to God, for he is the source of all wisdom, the keeper of all blessings, and the author of every destiny. When all is said and done, may your life be the proof that faith still works, that obedience still opens doors, and that trusting God still leads to greatness. Leave behind the legacy, not of what you own, but of what you gave, of who you helped, and of how faithfully you believed. For when God said you will be a billionaire, he wasn't just speaking of numbers. He was speaking of a life so rich in purpose, so full of peace, and so overflowing in goodness that it changes everyone it touches. Hold on to that word. Guard it with your life. Speak it until it becomes reality. Walk like it's already done. Because the moment you fully believe what God has spoken, nothing on earth or in heaven can keep it from manifesting. The power is already within you. The promise is already written, and the time to walk in it